All right, guys, let's get straight to it. Kentucky instant reaction. Georgia grinded out a tough physical game against a very physical Kentucky team. Mark Stoops does a great job coaching that team. They're very physical. They're really similar to Georgia how they play, just without the 5-star talent, super talent. The game started off pretty slow on offense. Stetson really didn't get going until about the second half. There was two touchdowns in the first half from Zamir White and James Cook, and didn't really get rolling until the second half of that game. Stetson Bennett finally got going with Brock Bowers. They connected twice for 2 touchdowns. Brock Bowers played incredible. That dude's probably the best tight end in the country, and if not, if you don't believe that, then try to find me another guy that is, because he's playing like it. Defense played really well too there. I thought not their best game, but only gave up 13 points, and for that to be the most this season is saying a lot about this team. I thought Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis had a great game. I think Jalen Carter was the one that blocked both of the kicks, the field goal and the PAT. I think, Jalen Carter was the one that did that. Jordan Davis obviously helped with all that push that he helps give there. Look, besides the slow start, Stetson played really well. Okay, he's a solid quarterback, right? He's dropping dimes left and right. He's making great decisions. He's not doing anything stupid. I thought he played well. I thought he played pretty well in the game. I think he got hit in the arm when that fumble, the fumble that Kendall Milton recovered. He got hit in the arm. If you're watching on TV, maybe you saw it if you're at the game too. But if you watched on TV, you could tell that he got hit and it was kind of hurting him. And they didn't have a lot of production after that, really. But in the second half, I guess it didn't affect him as much because he got rolling and he played a great game. He finished 14 for 20, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. That he's playing amazing. I don't know what else you can say. Like, people are like, can't wait to get JT Daniels back. Like, me neither. Like, I want to see JT Daniels play too. He's barely played in a Georgia uniform. But can you really complain about what the mailman's doing for us? I mean, that one throw he had to Fitzpatrick in the second half, I think it was the same drive that he threw the first touchdown to Brock Bowers. Man, that was right on the money. That was such a good throw. I mean, those are those are elite throws. He's become a really good passer, borderline elite. I mean, if these statistics that he put up against Kentucky, if JT Daniels put those same statistics up, what would we be saying, right? You have to look at it equally. You can't just say, "Oh, it's Stetson." You can't do that. And he adds a lot with his legs. I forgot what he had running. I think it was like maybe 20-something yards he had rushing the ball today. He adds that dynamic. You watch Stetson Bennett run the ball. They've done the QB draw several times this year, and I mean, it seems like it's a first down every time they call it. I mean, though it was, I think that's where he got most of his yardage in the game, was that QB draw. He did I think it was Kendall Milton maybe. He did like a fake handoff, and then he went around. The defense all pushed this way, and he went the opposite way and got a first down. I mean, he gives you a different dynamic in that aspect that JT Daniels really can't. Like, I'm sure JT Daniels can run. We haven't really seen it, but seems like they trust and they pull out more of those QB draw type plays when Stetson's at quarterback, just because he gives that kind of swiftiness, athletic ability to move around the pocket. And I don't know when JT Daniels is going back. No one does. To be honest, could he have played against Kentucky? Maybe. But is there a need to play him? No. There's no need to play JT Daniels, obviously. I mean, look what we did. We had a slow start on offense, not our best day offensively or defensively, and we still were able to put away the number 11 ranked team in the country. I mean, easily. They got that last second touchdown, which I'll touch on in a second. But other than that, it was 30-7 the entire at the end of the game there. I mean, like, we were beating them by 23 points. Should have been 24 if Jack Podlesny didn't miss that PAT. But I don't know when JT Daniels is coming back. But what do you do, right? If Stetson Bennett is playing at this level, the way he's playing, what are you supposed to do? Georgia fans need to be appreciative of what Stetson Bennett is bringing right now to our offense. Usually when you're starting, look at Penn State. Penn State's starting quarterback went down against Iowa, and their offense just went down, right? It declined a lot. They We're no longer the offense they were when they had their, I forgot the name of their quarterback. Apologize for that. But when Penn State starting quarterback is in the game, their offense looks totally different, right? JT Daniels comes out, he's hurt, put Stetson Bennett in, maybe a little bit of drop off, but not a lot, not enough to notice. And let's not forget either that we don't have like half of our wide receivers, right? Jermaine Burton hasn't been playing. Arian Smith, Rosemy Jack Saint, George Pickens, Dominic Blaylock. List can go on and on and on. Like, JT Daniels isn't playing. Kenny McIntosh hasn't been playing. Like, we just now got Darnell Washington back. And we've had people, Lad McConkey, Brock Bowers having to step up, A.D. Mitchell. All are playing exceptionally well, too. Like, there is really no drop-off in this team, which says a lot. If we're beating teams like this, Kentucky's a tough team. I bet Kentucky could beat a lot of teams, okay? A lot of teams. Not Georgia. Georgia's the best team. There's really no debate about that. Georgia's the best team. Kentucky can beat a lot of people, okay? They may not have an as explosive of an offense, right, as some of these other teams like Oklahoma, Ohio State, but they could give them a fight, right? If Ohio State went and played at Kentucky, Kentucky could probably beat a team like Ohio State or Michigan. Definitely probably Michigan or Michigan State, teams like that. Iowa, I would pick Kentucky to beat Iowa. Iowa lost yesterday to Purdue. Stetson Bennett's playing as good as you could ask him to, okay? I mean, there shouldn't be any complaints from the Georgia fans about that. He's playing well. I'm excited for Stetson too. I mean, I'm gonna be sad when he leaves Georgia. I mean, he's been one of the best go-to backup quarterbacks in college football the past 2 years. I mean, what more can you ask for him? He's a DGD for sure. Now, okay, I know Kentucky got the last-second touchdown. A lot of people were complaining about that. Sure, it was I don't know. Some people were upset. I like when coaches do that personally. For one, it gave our defense a challenge at the end of the game to play, to the last second, which they did. I'll talk about in a second. Even though they scored, it was hard for them to score. But I also like coaches like Mark Stoops. You're losing the game, but you want your offense to get some moral victories. And I know people make fun of moral victories and stuff, but that's a huge deal for this Kentucky team to go down and score. They had the ball for a long time, okay? They had the ball for 11 minutes and 23 seconds, okay? They got the ball with 11 minutes, 27 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, okay? They marched all the way down the field. It took 11 minutes, 23 seconds. Only 4 seconds were left on the clock when they scored that touchdown, okay? Give credit to Kentucky. They didn't sputter. Also, they were playing 4-down territory because there wasn't anything to lose, so Georgia had to play a little bit different. If you watch Kirby's press conference after the game, he talked about that a little bit. But this defense, okay, Kentucky's one of the most physical teams Georgia plays. So obviously they're going to be tired in the fourth quarter. So it would make sense that, maybe they give up a touchdown late, that sort of thing. It took Kentucky 11 minutes to move the ball down the field, okay? That just goes to show no matter what quarter you're in, no matter what you're doing, it's hard to score on this team, okay? It's difficult. It takes teams that long to get down the field. Yeah, you may score, but look how much clock you just chewed up. And Georgia's going to get the ball and probably score within 5 minutes on you, okay? So, and the chances of you moving the ball down the field for that long consistently is almost impossible, okay? It was the end of the game. The defense is tired out. And even when they're tired, it took you 11 minutes to move the ball. I mean, they were inching down the field. There was no big chunk plays. They were like, 3-yard plays, 4-yard plays. There was no big plays. Georgia just does not give up a lot of explosive plays. Wan'Dale Robinson had a couple. He's the one that caught the touchdown at the end. Wan'Dale Robinson had a couple of passes, but nothing explosive. And I think they said about 50% of his plays up until that Georgia game had been explosive plays. That's incredible, okay? Kentucky's running back, one of the best in the country, only got 7 yards on 7 carries. Georgia's defense is just that good, okay? You just cannot score on this defense, okay? They held Kentucky to, what was it? I think it was like 53 yards. I think it was like 53 yards that they held Kentucky to rushing, one of the best rushing offenses in the country. I mean, what else can you ask for from this defense? It's going to be hard to beat them. Nakobe Dean is a beast, playing the best linebacker in college football right now. Jordan Davis, the best defensive lineman in college football. You could make arguments. Jalen Carter's right there with him. Devontae Wyatt's playing well. I mean, this defense is insane. It's stacked to the max. Um, it's pretty remarkable what this team is doing right now. Okay, touched on Kentucky, Georgia for a little bit there. Let's move on to Florida. Okay, this is going to be a new type of thing. I think I'm going to do more reactionary stuff to the SEC as a whole or college football as a whole, bigger games throughout the week. There weren't a lot of crazy games this week. A few, though, that were crazy. I'll get to you in a second, Tennessee. Florida loses to LSU, their third loss of the season. Now, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I hate Florida. They're my least. I can't stand Florida, okay? There's no other team that I dislike more than Florida. Alabama and Auburn's right there with them, but nobody is more hated than Florida, personally, for me. Look, Florida losing to LSU gave me a lot of joy, but not only that, but it helped Georgia get a tight grip on the SEC East, okay? That really helped a lot. Kentucky has one loss to Georgia. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Georgia would have to lose 2 games, maybe one more, 2 games to lose control of the East. Kentucky would have to win out, which is possible. It's probably going to happen for Kentucky. I mean, Georgia pretty much has a firm grip on the SEC East, and Florida losing yesterday helped out a lot. Now, it was breaking news, and by the time you watch this, you probably already heard that Ed Orgeron will leave LSU after the 2021 season. He will not be the head coach next year. So, and apparently that was already talk. They were already in talks about that before the Florida game. So this just doesn't look good for Dan Mullen, right? The coach is LSU is being investigated by the NCAA. There's people snooping around everywhere. The players see it on their phones. There's talks that Ed Orgeron, before Florida is going to leave after this season. So you're playing for a head coach that may not even be there this next year. They have like 3 of their DBs or defensive players out, not even playing. They can barely run the ball. Like, it just seems like an impossible win, and Florida goes in there and just lays an egg and loses to LSU. It doesn't make any sense to me. So if you want to compare, let's compare Georgia and Florida for just a second. So I'm going to use the Georgia-Kentucky game and the LSU-Florida game. So Florida's defense, let's just go ahead and tell you, get out of the way. Florida's defense is horrible, especially their run defense. LSU was only averaging 154 yards a game rushing the ball before Florida, and they ended up rushing for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Florida pretty much gave up double the average of what LSU usually gets, okay? They gave up LSU's average and almost 150 more yards, okay? That's bad. That is very bad, especially for an LSU team that cannot run that much. And LSU's leading rusher had like over 230 yards. That's terrible. I think it's the most any running back has ran on Florida in the history of college football, more than Herschel Walker, more than any other running back in the SEC that's played against Florida. LSU's running back had more rushing yards than any of those, okay? It was just a bad defensive game for Florida. Now, compared to Georgia, Kentucky came into the game averaging 214.1 yards a game rushing the ball. They only mustered about 51 yards, okay, on 27 carries. And like I said a minute ago, Kentucky's running back, their leading running back, one of the best in the country, one of the best in the SEC, only got 7 yards against this defense. It just tells you all you need to know right there about Florida and Georgia. They're just not on the same, after Florida almost beat Alabama, people were like, oh, Georgia better watch out. And, I was kind of in the same boat. I was like, Florida looked, pretty decent against Alabama. A loss, but still looked competitive. Not anymore. Georgia should be able to run all over them, throw it all over them, especially if we get a lot of these guys back. It's going to be ugly, in my opinion. Especially, you get a week off to rest. You get an extra week to prepare for Florida. It's not going to be a good game, I don't think, for Florida. Now, Florida did have some pretty good offensive drives, especially when Anthony Richardson came in there. Um, they did have some good drives, but I just don't see anything that can. A lot of that is based off their ability to run, Florida's ability to run, and you can't run it on this team. I just told you statistics from one of the best rushing teams in the country, Kentucky. You can't. You just cannot run on this team. It's impossible. Um, I think I was going to touch on this. I'll touch on this on the end. I'll go ahead and skip to Ole Miss and Tennessee. Now, we expected to see a lot of throwing in this game, just not from the fans, okay? I'm sure you've already seen it on TV, but a small portion of Tennessee fans at the game decided that they would throw trash onto the field in response to as they say, or what they're calling a bad call by the referees, saying that Tennessee was short on the first down. Now, it was like 3rd and 20-something yards, like 3rd and forever, okay? And Tennessee threw a pass over the middle and almost got the first down. They were like a yard short. They go back to review the play, okay, and you can't see the ball. There is no way to really see the ball. He was carrying it in his right arm, and when he fell, it seems like his arm is short from the first down marker. Tennessee fans didn't seem to agree. Also, they were upset that Ole Miss players were going down with quote-unquote injuries. So they decided to protest by throwing bottles. They were hitting their own people in the stands. People were crying. They were showing the crowd. There was girls crying. They were holding their head, got hit with bottles probably. The cheerleaders had to leave because they were getting hit. They were holding up their signs. The band had to leave. It was just a bad look for not just Tennessee, but the SEC and college football as a whole. You just don't want to see it, okay? Now, it's Tennessee, though, so, I mean, what do you expect from good old Rocky Top? But it was just a bad look, and I don't know. I think Greg Sankey came up with a statement. They're probably going to fine Tennessee for it, too, but it was just a bad look. Like, Tennessee, they ended up punting the ball, right? Ole Miss got the ball back, and Tennessee still had 3 timeouts. They were able to stop them, okay? And they got the ball back and had a chance to score a last-second drive. The fans, though, before that didn't seem to care. They just wanted to protest and possibly cause the game to just be over before Tennessee even had another chance. It was just stupid. It was stupid from the Tennessee fans. But, yeah, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss were able to come up with a win, improve to 5-1. The SEC West is still wide open. Alabama, they have 1 loss. Ole Miss has 1 loss. Auburn has 2. There's a chance Auburn could do it. Arkansas was in that conversation, not anymore. They have 3 losses now. They lost to Auburn. I mean, Ole Miss has a good chance to make a pretty good run this year, no matter what happens, whether they get in the playoffs or not, or they're most likely going to play in a really big bowl game this year. But yeah, Lane Kiffin was able to pull out a win, beat his former team. It was an interesting game for sure. Okay, so now I want to talk about this, which is, in my opinion, big news. So you guys may think I'm joking if you haven't heard the news about Jordan Davis yet. He is 100% in the Heisman conversation at the moment, okay? And no, it's not just Georgia fans on the JD bandwagon train. It's huge voices in college football, people who have a huge influence in the sport. They're starting to take notice and saying the same thing. Paul Feinbaum yesterday said, I know it's so early for Heisman talk, and Georgia has so many candidates, but Jordan Davis would be on my Heisman ballot today. Okay, think about what you just heard. The Heisman Trophy is usually like a polarizing award. What I mean is it's usually a quarterback, somebody who's polarizing on the field, like they just make flashy plays. They're a very flashy person. And usually it's not a defensive player. I think only one person's ever won the won the Heisman that's a defensive player before. And the fact that we're talking about this should make Georgia fans excited. Like, just the thought of Jordan Davis being in New York as one of the 3 finalists is really exciting to think about. Even if he doesn't win, and the odds are stacked against him to win, I would say Matt Corral is the leader right now for the Heisman race. But just the fact that people are really considering Jordan Davis a defensive player for Georgia in the Heisman talk. Should get a lot of people excited about the rest of the year. And I honestly, what it makes me think about is you should just be really appreciative of what we have this year. We're going to lose these guys next year. Jordan Davis is going to the NFL draft. You're going to lose a lot of guys, Nakobe Dean, Adam Anderson, like all of these guys that are making this defense so great and is historically good. A lot of these guys are going to be gone next year, so you really need to just enjoy it while we have it. And Jordan Davis is playing amazing. I mean, like the two block kicks, the field goal on PAT. Jalen Carter, I think, is the one that got it both times. But like I said earlier, Jordan Davis was a big part of that push that allowed Jalen Carter to get there and block the kicks. He's just hard. Like, he's hard to block. He's immovable. That's what Kirby Smart called him. He said he's Godzilla-like. Okay, he's hard to move, and it's true. You cannot move Jordan Davis. He will move you. That's what's going to happen. He's going to move you. You're not going to move Jordan Davis. One of the plays against Kentucky, forgot where it happened and whatnot, but he was like being held on the play, and still somehow got through an arm and grabbed the running back and tackled him. Like, people are holding him back, and he still pushes through and tackles guys. He does not quit on the play. He's one of the best college football players this year. Probably the best defensive lineman Georgia's ever had. One of the best. I mean, the fact that he's in the Heisman talk right now is just exciting to think about. A lot of people are using the hashtag JD to NYC. It's kind of catching on right now on Twitter and whatnot, but it's just exciting to think about, like, the type of talent this team has right now, that defensive players are being in talks for the Heisman right now. So Georgia, obviously, in 2 weeks plays Florida. Georgia has a week, have a bye week this week, kind of to rest up. And that's what Georgia needs to do the most is rest, I think. Just heal the team, let the team heal up and get some much needed rest. Allow a lot of these guys to just take a break because they probably need it. When you're going week to week, you have limited time. When you have an extra week, though, to just take it be more laid back, take it a little easier throughout the week. Don't put as much strain on your body. That helps a lot, obviously. And then they'll be able to go next week or the week after this week, preparing for Florida. Hopefully we get a lot of those guys back. I think we will. I think we're probably going to get Arian Smith back. Rosemary Jack-Saint will be back. Jermaine Burton probably will definitely be back. JT Daniels, I think, will be back. I think he could have played for Kentucky. And if we were playing a game this Saturday, I think JT Daniels would be good to go for this game. But having this extra week, it's perfect timing for JT Daniels to get healed, get back in rhythm, get some reps, get a full week of practice if he is going to play, if he is going to start. Like I said, it's going to be hard to take Stetson out, but it's probably going to happen at some point. If you're going to take Stetson out, though, give JT Daniels a full week to practice with the ones. Get him some rhythm back with the offense and allow the team to get some chemistry. It's exciting. The Florida game will probably be pretty competitive for a little bit there. I'll touch more on it when I do my preview for Florida. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited. I think Georgia's already passed the hardest part of the schedule. Tennessee is going to be an obstacle too. Looking forward. Mizzou is not going to be a challenge. Georgia Tech, Charleston Southern, all those teams are kind of going to be easy. But Florida is going to be. Florida and Tennessee are probably the most challenging teams Georgia has left. But if Georgia gets past Florida, I think you're looking at an undefeated regular season and a playoff spot. Because even if Georgia finishes the season undefeated, and then they lose to like Alabama or Ole Miss, a one-loss team, most likely Georgia's going to the playoffs as the number 4 seed. So that's fun. That's exciting to think about. Georgia still has to finish the job, though. We've only played halfway through the year. But so far, Georgia is the best team in the country. We have the best unit on defense. We're the most complete team. And yeah, we'll just see how the team handles it going forward. I'll have my Florida prediction video out, not this week, but next week. I'll probably do some more just kind of like topic videos this week, just kind of to kind of prep for the Florida game. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching, and make sure you subscribe and like and hit the bell. Comment down below what your reaction was to the Kentucky game, what you kind of thought about the game, what your thoughts are. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.